What up, y'all? It's your boy Jairus. My new mixtape, Three Piece, is out right now on all platforms. The video for Back in This Bed is coming out next week, and I need everybody to please support. I appreciate all the streams and plays and reposts and likes and comments that y'all been giving me now on everything I've been posting. Please share it with your friend, download. Everything is on my website, www.ajairus.com. I appreciate all the support. We're gonna have a little talk about how everything came to be. So come by with us and rock with us now. I remember growing up listening to Snoop Dogg was the first hip hop album I ever heard. My dad would play that in his Z. I don't know what year it was from. It was from the 80s, but he had this black Z with the T top. That joint was hard. And the only rap he really listened to was Snoop Dogg, Dog Pound. I knew I loved music then. But what really made me get into music was drumline. I had always been in school, banging on the tables at the lunch table in class, getting in trouble with my friends freestyling. But when drumline came out, I was like, dang, Nick Cannon hard. Like, he don't know music theory, but he went in there and just did that. And I didn't know anything about music theory, so I actually joined the band and failed. Talk about that later. I know in high school, it's like when I really knew I wanted to do music. So I got into a music program my senior year. If you had enough credits that you was gonna graduate on time, there was a music program that you could attend. And then from there, I was like, yeah, this shit's dope. Growing up, my favorite artist, being from Atlanta for sure, T.I., Jeezy, Outkast, Michael Jackson. I mean, it was amazing. We listened to a lot of old school back in the day. I got into this business because I was getting in trouble in Atlanta, and my mom knew my cousin in New York who had a connect to a recording studio. And she was like, nigga, you need to stop playing. She basically got me an internship in New York at this recording studio called Lounge Recording Studios. And that was my first time in a real studio. Because we used to have a studio just in the basement, the little Walmart microphone. But when I was 18, 19, I went to New York for 3 or 4 months. And that's my first time actually understanding the music business and the industry side of things. And I was like, dang, yeah, this is what I want to do for real. I've worked with a lot of artists in this business. I mean, I always love working with up and coming artists, but for some of the major artists, I helped play a part in Solange's last couple albums. I've worked with Ty Dolla $ign, engineered for Justin Bieber, I've engineered for Ed Sheeran. So I've engineered for a lot of cool artists. Some of the favorite artists I've worked with is Solange, of course, and Ty Dolla $ign. Ty actually was one of the first people I seen record themselves and bring the microphone into the actual control room. And I was like, dang, I like his style of just writing to begin with. But I worked with amazing artists just all throughout. Just being able to tell my story, tell some of my journey, show some of the lifestyle that I've lived or that I do live. It's almost like therapy. You can't tell anyone else, you can just tell the beat and everybody else can kind of listen, you know what I'm saying? So I just like to be free with the things that I experience in life. So originally, J Sounds came from my boy Q. Shout out Q back in SCAD. I went to Savannah College Art and Design for like 3 or 4 months, and then I dropped out because it just cost too much. But I always just ran with J Sounds because originally I was just producing and engineering, and I started to learn to write and produce my own records later in life. And I didn't like the name Jairus. Jairus is my original name. I didn't really like the name Jairus growing up because people made fun of my name. I went to a racist elementary middle school, and people always made fun of my name, so I just always went by Jay. And if you probably known me from the last couple of years, you probably even know me as Jay or Jay Sounds. But as I get older, I'm like, yo, I just want to be myself. I don't want to have to put a face on for anybody else, and I'm just kind of like expressing myself. So Jairus is my name, and I just decided to go with that. What I like to do in my free time: smoke weed, hike, go to the beach, eat. I mean, I'm a foodie. Sometimes y'all will see me post the food videos on the Instagram and TikTok. I like to travel, so if we can find a moment to go somewhere and kick it, I'm down all the time. 3 artists I could work with, definitely Justin Bieber, Rihanna. Come on, Rihanna, fuck with us. We back, we outside. Like, it's been a minute. Beyonce for sure. That's the queen, Queen B. So I started off as a recording engineer. Well, started off as an intern. Let's start there. Started off as an intern. Sometimes I would have to sit outside of the studio because the artist didn't want the intern in the studio. So I would sit in the hallway while the session went for 3 to 4 hours. And if they needed a snack or a run or anything, I would be the runner in that instance. And I would be going to grab whatever the artist needed to keep the session flowing so they didn't have to leave the studio. I did that for about 3 or 4 months with Blue, who is an amazing mix and mastering engineer. Shout out Blue, Mixed by Blue. From there, I started engineering my own studio. I helped build a room in the lounge studios. I slept at the studio for about a year of my life while we were building it and running it. From there, I ran just hundreds and thousands of sessions, recording sessions, and produced for multiple artists along the way. I have a Grammy with Solange from Cranes in the Sky. I moved to LA. I moved to New York when I was 20. I moved to LA around 27. And that's when I started writing and producing my own records and just taking myself serious as an artist instead of just being an engineer and boxing myself in. Now I'm just putting my own music out and collaborating with other artists and amazing producers and engineers to just express myself. Three Piece is a compilation of records that I just had on my laptop for the past year. And I was going through whatever problems I was going through in life. And I was like, yo, the only way to really get myself out of this funk is just to create and put out the music that I've already created that's just sitting here. And it's really just a taste of what I have for next year that's lined up. And I was like, yo, I want to put 3 records that I just really enjoy and I think people would enjoy, and they all have different tempos, different flows, different vibes, and I was like, I just want to see like what are the people liking and what kind of gravitates. The music I typically create is going to definitely be fun. It's going to be wavy. You're going to be able to get a little two-step in, a little jig too. I just be having fun when I create music, so I try to like I definitely be moving in the booth, so I be trying to just like shrug my shoulders a little bit, like just vibing. My creative process when I'm in the studio, if I hear a beat that I'm vibing to, I usually freestyle just like melodies that I hear in my head, and then from there I'll go fill in the words. Sometimes the words just like come out automatically, but a lot of time I'm freestyling just the melody. I feel like when you first hear a beat, like the first at least melody you hear, sometimes it's like that instant melody. You gotta just gravitate that, you gotta catch that, and then sometimes the words come later on. If I wasn't making music and being in the music business, I don't know what I would be doing because I never had a plan B. So, God, in all praise, get me right, please. The internet, I think, has made it so anybody can become poppin'. I think if you can create something that people gravitate to, I think your image, like sometimes people do weird stuff on purpose because they know it's going to gravitate either negative or positive comments. So I think the internet really is just how you use it, and we all have to learn how to use the internet whether we like it or not. I know a lot of us artists want to be artists and not content creators. However, in this new age that we're in, content is everything, and that's how people are marketing themselves. And back in the day, people were shooting videos and interviews, and that was also content. It just wasn't chopped up and so thrown in our face the way that it is today. But nothing's really changed, I think. I think it's just more accessible to everybody. The most trouble I've ever gotten into, I don't know, can't even,
Okay.
can't say that. The best advice I've ever been given, it wasn't even advice, it was just really about like leadership, and it's just to keep going, and like no matter what, you really just have to keep focused and lock in. And I learned that for 2 people in my life who always just keep going. So really just locking in and stay level headed and keep pushing, because I mean there's nothing else you could really do besides that. If I could change anything in the industry, it would be to kill out gimmick artists who don't really record or do the artistry of art, but they found a gimmick to get into the music industry and finesse their way in. I can never hate a finesse, but